Do you want to gain some life and turn it into beatdown? Then Karlov of the Ghost Council is probably a good fit for you. But first, don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date on all the newest deck techs. Karlov of the Ghost Council reads, White-Black, Legendary Creature, Spirit Advisor, 2/2. Whenever you gain life, put 2+1/+1 counters on Karlov of the Ghost Council. Pay a white and a black, remove 6+1/+1 counters from Karlov of the Ghost Council, exile target creature. Holy cow, I always forget that you get 2 counters whenever you gain life. Like, that's insane. And the exile of creatures makes it even better. So for this deck, we obviously want to gain some life. A ton of life, actually. So the bulk of this deck is life gain cards. Loxodon Warhammer is a 3-mana artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +3/+0 and has trample and lifelink, equip cost 3. This card can suit up our commander to make them have lifelink and make sure we get some damage in with trample. Aetherflux Reservoir is 4-mana artifact. Whenever you cast a spell, you gain 1 life for each spell you've cast this turn. Pay 50 life. Aetherflux Reservoir deals 50 damage to target creature or player. So we run this card so we can dome our opponents for 50 out of nowhere. The playing a bunch of spells in a turn isn't going to line up often enough to be particularly relevant, but some extra life gain is nice. Speaking of some extra life gain, Pristine Talisman is a 3-mana artifact. Tap, add 1 colorless, you gain 1 life. Ramp plus life gain. Yes, please. Tablet of the Guilds is a 2-mana artifact. As Tablet of the Guilds enters the battlefield, choose 2 colors. Whenever you cast a spell, if it's at least one of the chosen colors, you gain 1 life for each of the chosen colors it is. The great part about this is how well it synergizes with the fact that we run a 2-color deck. Authority of the Consuls is 1 white for an enchantment. Creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, you gain 1 life. Having your opponent's creatures enter the battlefield tapped is a great way to swing in and get some damage. Also, this gains life, which is the main reason it's here. Exquisite Blood is 4 and a black for an enchantment. Whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. So this triggers off of damage dealt, them paying life, us pinging them with something, etc. Great life gain engine. Daxos Blessed by the Sun is white for a legendary enchantment creature demigod 2-star. Daxos' toughness is equal to your devotion to white. Whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield or dies, you gain 1 life. The toughness makes this a solid blocker. This will also gain life no matter what's happening to our creatures. Grey Merchant of Asphodel, is 3 a black and a black for a creature zombie 2/4. When Grey Merchant of Asphodel enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life, where X is your devotion to black. You gain life equal to the life lost this way. We don't run enough devotion to black in this deck for this to be as devastating as we like it to be, but it still gains and drains all the same. Cabal, Consul of Allocation, is 1 a white and a black for a legendary creature human advisor 2/3. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, that player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. This lets us control the game a bit by texting our opponents when they want to cast their spells. Soul Warden is 1 white creature, human cleric. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life. This is a classic for this deck. Nothing quite like trigger off of every single creature entering the battlefield, including your opponents. Soul's Attendant, 1 white, creature, human cleric, 1/1. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you may gain 1 life. Same thing as Soul Warden, but another name. I think I'm having deja vu. That's what we're looking for in Commander, though. So we're gaining life, but that isn't winning us the game on its own. And while our Commander can get more beefy from this, it's still great to have backup plans, like a Johnny's Pridemate. 1 and a white, creature cat soldier, 2/2. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on a Johnny's Pridemate. This card is great. I love how big and out of hand it gets out of nowhere. And while it doesn't grow as fast as our Commander, it's pretty sweet all the same. But you know what's better than a Johnny's Pridemate? A Planeswalker that makes multiple of Johnny's Pridemates. A Johnny, Strength of the Pride, is 2 a white and a white, legendary planeswalker Johnny, starting with 5 loyalty. +1, you gain life equal to the number of creatures you control plus the number of planeswalkers you control. -2, create a 2/2 white cat soldier token named a Johnny's Pridemate with, whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on a Johnny's Pridemate. And 0, if you have at least 15 or more life than your starting total, exile a Johnny Strength of the Pride and each artifact and creature your opponents control. This card is so cool. It can wipe out a board, it can make good creature tokens. This deck loves this planeswalker in particular. Well of Lost Dreams is 4 mana for an artifact. Whenever you gain life, you may pay X, where X is less than or equal to the amount of life you gained. If you do, draw X cards. Drawing cards off life gain. Yes, please. Black has a bit of card draw, and white has very little, so we're happy to take it where we can get it. Griffin Airy is 1 and a white for an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, create a 2/2 white Griffin creature token with flying. This card can only make Griffins on our turn, which isn't amazing, but it's still worth running all the same. Dawn of Hope is 1 and a white for an enchantment. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card. 3 and a white, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. More card draw is good. Also, the ability to slowly make a board when we have excess mana is a great thing to have around as well. Cleric class is 1 white, enchantment class. Gain the next level as a sorcery to add to its ability. If you would gain life, you gain that much life plus 1 instead. 3 and a white, whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. 4 and a white, when this class becomes level 3, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. You gain life equal to its toughness. So this enhances your life gain, then it makes any creatures in a Johnny's Pridemate, even our commander, and then we get a reanimation at the end. This card is bananas, and I love it. Witch of the Moors is 3 black, creature, human, warlock, 4/4 with Death Touch. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, each opponent sacrifices a creature and you return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Pseudo removal and pseudo reanimation are both meh, but both tacked onto a creature seem like we might as well try it. Voice of the Blessed is white, creature, spirit, cleric, 2/2. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Voice of the Blessed. As long as Voice of the Blessed has 4 or more +1/+1 counters on it, it has flying and vigilance. As long as Voice of the Blessed has 10 or more +1/+1 counters on it, it has indestructible. Getting this thing to be indestructible is not out of the realm of possibility, and is a nightmare when we actually pull it off. Veto, Thorn of the Dusk Rose, is 2 and a black for a legendary creature, vampire, cleric, 1/3. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. 3 black, creatures you control gain lifelink until end of turn. The only thing that could make this better is if it hit each opponent rather than target opponent, but Veto ends lives and it's great. Nykthos Paragon is 4 a white and a white for enchantment creature, human, soldier, 4/6. Whenever you gain life, you may put that many +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. Do this only once each turn. This can trigger on each turn, meaning we can trigger it on our opponent's turns, which is the kind of ability we love here at Agoraphobic Entertainment. Marauding Blight Priest is 2 and a black for a creature, vampire, cleric, 3/2. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. Pinging each opponent when we gain life is just sweet. Heliod Suncrown is 2 and a white, legendary enchantment creature, god, 5/5, indestructible. As long as your devotion to white is less than 5, Heliod isn't a creature. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature or enchantment you control. 1 and a white, another target creature gains lifelink until end of turn. This card's a little pricey, but it does everything this deck wants to do. Skip it if you're going budget, but it's a worthwhile inclusion if you have one. Felidar Sovereign is 4 a white and a white for a creature, cat beast, 4/6 with vigilance and lifelink. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 40 or more life, you win the game. Who doesn't love alternate win conditions? Our opponents is who, but we'll run it anyway. Divinity of Pride is 5 white and black hybrid mana. Creature, spirit avatar, 4/4 with flying and lifelink. Divinity of Pride gets +4/+4 as long as you have 25 or more life. 8/8 flying lifelink for 4 is what we're getting most of the time, making it a real pain to deal with. Cliffhaven Vampire is 2 a white and a black, creature, vampire, warrior, ally, 2/4 with flying. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. More ping for damage, when we gain life, is more good. Bloodthirsty Aerialist is 1 a black and a black, creature, vampire, rogue, 2/3 with flying. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Bloodthirsty Aerialist. This is like Johnny's Pridemate in the air. Take everything I said, but add flying and you'll get why this is good. Archangel of Thune is 3 a white and a white for a creature type angel. 3/4 with flying and lifelink. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. This is another card that's a bit pricey, that can be an early cut for budget reasons, but it's so good. It can single-handedly make a board insane out of nowhere and synergizes so well with our commander. Crested Sunmare is 3 a white and a white for a creature horse, 5/5. Other horses you control have indestructible. At the beginning of each end step, if you gained life this turn, create a 5/5 white horse creature token. Nobody expects random horse tribal. Indestructible horse tribal is pretty sweet. Beat down on your opponents with horses. Sanguine Bond is 3 a black and a black for an enchantment. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Then we have opponents losing life equal to the life we gain. That's insane with how much life gain we run, but it also combos with Exquisite Blood from earlier. 4 and a black. Whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. When you have both out and gain life, or deal damage, you gain infinite life and deal infinite damage, taking everyone out on the spot. White and black also have pretty sweet tutors, especially for enchantment, so consider running those to get those combo up and running more consistently. And one thing for Karlov of the Ghost Council that I haven't seen a bunch of people running are Ring of Thune, 2 mana, artifact equipment, equipped creature has vigilance. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a +1/+1 counter on equipped creature if it's white, equip cost 1, and Ring of Zathrid, 2 mana, artifact equipment, pay 2, regenerate equipped creature. The next time the creature would be destroyed this turn, it isn't. Instead, tap it, remove all damage from it, and remove it from combat. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a +1/+1 counter on equipped creature if it's black. Equip cost 1. Ring of Thune 100% goes on our commander and gives them vigilance as well as more counters. Ring of Zathrid has regenerating, and regenerating equipped creature on our commander is so strong. Our commander is key for this strategy, as they're our best removal and our best beater. I can't recommend these rings enough. Consider running an equipment package to really flesh out these rings as well as other cards we've mentioned. And that's it. That's the deck. Did I miss anything? If so, leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, drop a like. And if you really enjoyed it, consider subscribing to my Patreon. But even if you only sub to my channel, know that it's plenty enough for me. Thank you so much for your time and have a wonderful day.